Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In this episode, again, we are going to be delving into the realm of lessons in insanity. Yes, you heard it right. Another episode of Lessons in Insanity. So, I want to talk about the United States media. The media, I don't want to say it's the United States media, meaning it's like a government-sponsored media, but and I'll get to that in a second. It almost in many aspects is becoming that, or it feels that way. So I go back many years ago, before the widespread use of cable television, before people were watching CNN. People would usually tune in for the nightly news. You would have your local nightly news, which was, depending on where you lived, was around 6 o'clock, and then you would have the world news, which would take place around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and obviously you had Tom Brokaw, Dan Rather, and it goes all the way back in terms of those anchors that existed. And again, ABC, NBC, CBS were the big three, and that's what you watched at night to get your information in terms of what was happening in the world. And obviously, um, for me, growing up, the only other real access you had was a newspaper as well, and that was for me it was the Washington Post. Uh, it is now often called the Washington Compost, and it is owned and operated by the tech oligarch Mr. Jeffrey Bezos. So back then, you would watch the news, and it felt to me that they tried to take uh, a fairly balanced view. Obviously, I would hear at times that they felt people would talk that it felt that it was tilted a little bit to the left, slightly to the left, but it was very minuscule, and and again it was really depending on the station that you watched, ABC, NBC, CBS. Obviously, during Dan Rather's time at CBS, he had some fairly significant run-ins with the Bushes, and that is well documented. And Dan Rather is a known liberal as well. But I would say we fast forward to where we're at today, and I watch the so-called news. I watch CNN. I have CNN there. Everyone can see it's headquartered in Atlanta, and I quite frankly don't even know what I'm watching. It really feels like the propaganda arm of the left of the Democratic Party, and I, uh, I don't believe the media should take that kind of bias. And I understand that CNN is going through some very hard financial times in terms of viewership, and it took the economic decision to target the last president of the United States. That was one of the ways that it was able to make money, but most of the other news, large establishment media also took that position as well, and that's kind of unfortunate. But again, I really believe at this point the way the media is operating, they are fragmenting the country. And both too. I mean, you look at Fox News. You have Fox News and Newsmax inside of the United States. If you are to the right of the political spectrum, you're probably watching either Newsmax or Fox News. If you're to the left of the political equation, you are probably watching CNN or MSNBC or something along those lines. And then obviously the large networks themselves, ABC, NBC, CBS, are fairly significantly tilted towards the left as well. But right now, I really want to pick on CNN because I think CNN has a very large mouthpiece. And one of those mouthpieces is when you go to an airport, and any airport that you go to, and you attempt to watch any TV, well, for whatever reason, contractual obligations, whatever it could be, CNN is always there. It is omnipresent at the airports. So you don't really have a choice in terms of what you are watching. You have to watch CNN while at the airport. And then obviously people, especially when we started getting widespread access to cable television, people inherently would turn on CNN because it was the only 24-hour news source. And that what was watched for a very long period of time. But we have kind of seen it kind of play the middle ground, and then finally we've seen this really hard tilt towards the left side of the equation, and that's for CNN. And then obviously Fox News is where that stands as well, and that again is more towards the right with elements of some moderation in there, but for the most part, again, let's not mince words. If you're to the right, you're watching Fox or Newsmax, and to the left, it's a range of content that you could be watching. There's more content that is operated by left-leaning sources than right-leaning sources. I mean, you have NPR, very, very leftist news organization, and that's just the way it is. But what's happening is there's no middle ground, and they are fragmenting. It is fragmenting the United States. They are creating such a divide right now that I don't know, as a people, I don't know if we're going to recover. And it continues, and they're able to operate CNN, all these, and again, I'm really focusing on CNN right now, especially what I just observed with Don Lemon talking about individuals who may not choose to have a substance injected into their body, and for whatever reason, wherever you set, that is a personal choice. And if I choose not to have a substance placed into my body, if you choose to have a substance placed into your body, that is your choice. You have that right to do that without being ostracized and being targeted by what is now, again, CNN, an extension of the current government. It is the mouthpiece of the Biden administration. So no matter if it's right or wrong, CNN is going to report it as it was justified. So there was a recent drone strike in Afghanistan. Initially, CNN was and still is reporting. They've just not reported what has happened after the facts. But basically, drone strike, possibly up to 10 kids killed in this drone strike. And initially, it was a very successful operation, and the White House was applauded for taking this action in retaliation for the attack that took place on Kabul International that killed 13 U.S. troops. And questions were raised and asked, and everything has basically been brushed under the carpet. So the reality is it quite possibly was an unsuccessful strike. I understand that it's war, it's going to happen. But if that would have happened during the previous administration, Completely different narrative that you would have heard. In regarding to the mandatory substance that we are all now being encouraged to take. I'm not going to call it medicine. I'm not going to call it a vaccine. I'm simply going to call it a substance. And because that's what it is, it's a substance. I can say that because I have freedom of speech. So, the substance that is being encouraged and now mandated to be taken is obviously also being highly encouraged by this mouthpiece, CNN, Don Lemon, however you say his last name. And right now, Mr. Don Lemon is now ostracizing those who decide not to take the substance. Now, again, whether you want to take the substance, whether you do not want to take the substance, the choice is yours. You have that right. If it's good for you and is a fit for you, and you are in the category of someone who feels that they need to take the substance, go ahead, take the substance. The probability right now, as it stands, from the information that is on hand, would indicate that it may not prevent you from getting the sickness, but it will make the symptoms of the sickness less than you not taking it. Now, for those who have contracted the sickness and who overcame the sickness, well, taking the substance is a different story. Maybe you feel that it is an additional layer of protection by taking the substance to prevent the sickness, or getting a more robust version of the possible sickness. But again, that choice is yours. It's totally up to you. It should not be mandated by government. It should not be mandated by the mouthpiece of the current government. And that's what's being done. This news outlet right now, no matter what is happening, no matter what is going on in society, whether it's right or wrong, they're going to report it as a justified event. There could be a massacre perpetrated by this current administration of a civilian population here in the United States or wherever, and I firmly believe at this point, this news organization, CNN, would make it look justified, no matter what it is. We could find out tomorrow that the substance makes you grow a third head or a second head. Well, some people will be growing a third head, but and CNN would make it justified. It would be still a lawful event that the substance was mandated. It could cause cancer and kill half the population of the United States, of the world. And CNN, if this current administration is in power, would say it was a lawful event. Maybe it's population control now. Maybe it's going to help the world. I don't know what they would say, but no matter what it is, they're going to report it as a lawful event, and they're not going to investigate it, even if it's wrong. And that should be a concern, no matter where you sit. No matter where you sit on this issue that is going on, or issues that are happening, that should concern you, especially if you have a governmental controlled media. And that's what we are facing right now. For the vast majority of the media inside of the United States, it is going to operate under the auspice that whatever the current administration says is correct. And that should concern you. So we talk about fascism, we talk about where the United States is heading, we talk about Marxism, I mean, fascism to me is the melding of a corporate entity and a governmental body where they are operating as one. And unfortunately, right now, with big media, with big tech, especially right now in the environment that we're in, we are seeing that take place. We are seeing an unprecedented level of cooperation, whether it's right or wrong, on the part of government, and especially private giant big tech and its media allies, because they are purchasing news outlets. Jeff Bezos, Amazon.com, owns the Washington Post. And you are seeing that manifest itself in a lot of the content that we are now seeing on TV. I remember the HBO, again, a premium movie channel here in the United States, um, uh, during the election season, released a miniseries. I believe it was a two-part miniseries called the Comey Rule, and these allegations were all over the map, and it was a very it was a fairly well done miniseries, but obviously it was directed against the sitting president. It was the whole concept of this movie that was created by HBO was to take a shot at it was to take a shot at Donald Trump and the alleged experiences that the former director of the FBI had with Donald Trump. And obviously it was fictitious, and there was a lot of additions to the movie that in which things didn't take place. But if we talk about controlling elections or circumventing elections, well, I think there's a classic example where you have a large media organization putting together a movie and then releasing that movie that is targeting a current incumbent president during an election cycle. And we've never seen that. There was never any movies put out about Obama. That didn't happen. But again, you're kind of seeing that tandem use of that power through media, i.e., CNN, and these content providers, these media organizations. And again, you really see, just in terms of, again, what they're talking about, what they're saying, how they're saying it. It is very pro government. It is very pro current. I'm sorry, it's not pro government. It's pro regime. It's the current government. It's the government that, for whatever reason, CNN wants in power. And yeah, most of these people that are in CNN, obviously, they've been heavily indoctrinated inside of the college system inside of the United States, the educational system, which is a breeding ground for very hardcore far left ideologies. And that's just a fact. I can see it now with in terms of my children and their schooling and their time and the information that they're being given inside of the the university process. And really, again, that process is more of an indoctrination process. I have even received emails from the president of said university, and these are widespread emails sent to everyone. But again, even those emails just seem to assume that everyone he's talking to is basically a leftist, and that's discouraging. But again, I'm drifting a little bit. But again, just back to CNN and what they do and how they do it. Obviously, right or wrong, right now in the space that CNN is existing, they are going to support the current administration and go after any opposition to the current administration or the Democrat power base. And that should concern you. Again, no matter where you sit, and obviously, if you're a hard leftist, then yeah, you're okay with this. But imagine if it ever gets flipped, right, to where the media, the existing power base, is completely and 100% loyal to a rightist government, a hard right government. And everything that you hear coming out of that mouthpiece is in support of that hardcore right-wing government. You would have a different feeling then. You would be calling the media fascist. But in the reality, this is fascism. This joint operation, this joint obedience to each other, meaning the state, the current administration, and the media, is fascism. They are working together to promote an idea, and that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, I don't know if we will work our way out of it. I don't know how this looks in the future, but I can tell you with utter certainty what they are doing right now, meaning these CNN and media outlets like them, and again, even Fox News and Newsmax, they are fragmenting the United States. You are either on one side of the equation or you are on another side of the equation. And I think this is starting to look more and more like what occurred in Spain prior to and during the Spanish Civil War. Obviously, there's things that are a little different in terms of monarchy coming into play and some other things, but the whole concept of how the United States is looking, and again, this is being perpetuated by these media organizations, CNN, all of them. They are fragmenting the United States, and they are doing it. I don't know why, but it's working, and you really can't go anywhere now and have a discussion because it's so polarized, and that polarization is being caused by these guys right here, CNN, Don Lemon, and again, I'm not trying to. I get where Fox sets, but Fox is it. Fox is the only outlet outside of Newsmax that a person that leans towards a more conservative viewpoint or is right leaning, which is fine. You have that right to watch. The vast majority of all other media outlets, from the Washington Post, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, are very, very tilted towards the left. And again, I talked about those reasons, but that's where we sit, and right now it is dividing the country intentionally. Talk to everybody later. Have a great day.